Hey viewers, welcome back to the channel. Today is a just kind of a talking video. As you can see, we're raining, and boy, we got a lot of rain. And so I'm not doing much outside. I need to do a lot. As you can see there in the background, maybe I got a tree down that I cut. That's number 3 of a lot, as we're just kind of clearing out the back, this little back section of our property. But I can't do that now because we are getting rained out. So what am I gonna do? Well, I got a video for you here. This video kind of tentatively titled "N number of things I do differently on this house build." I've got a list, and I think that number is 7, but we will continue to, yeah, if I add more, we'll add more. So here we go. First off though, there's Smokey. You remember Smokey? She's hanging out, starving for attention. I think as soon as I came out, she's yelling at me and coming up to me. So, so let's get into it. What would I do different on this house build? Now that I'm here, I'm out on my back porch, kind of enjoying the rain a bit, right? So now that I've had a chance to breathe and think, what would I do different? Well, number 1, prefinished cabinets. Horrible decision. It sounded good at the time, but I didn't think deep enough about what that actually meant. And because of that, I had a lot of issues. To me, the chief of which is these prefinished cabinets, you still have to trim them out whenever you get them. And even if you have painted trim to match like you would want, right, you're still gonna have nail holes, which means you're either gonna have to deal with nail holes or you're gonna have to caulk and fill and then touch up. So you're not saving a whole lot versus just installing raw cabinets, trimming it all out, and then having the painter just shoot it all at once. So I would never do pre-finished cabinets again. Now, I had a horrible cabinet experience with my cabinet vendor, so maybe that soured me too much on it, but it was probably the worst piece of this build, I think, as far as just things that could go wrong and wrong and wrong again. So pre-finished cabinets, don't do it. Don't do it at all. It's not worth it. Number 2, run more CAT6. In my notes, I have run more CAT6. Seriously, more than you need. And I think the theme about all of this, and I talked about this in my erosion video, right, with lack of gutters, is think deeply about these problems. Think deeply about all the decisions you're making and all the scenarios, and really put the mental effort into it. Because even before I moved in, and as things would have it, right, of course you think about things right as the walls go up, right? Not before. No. Right as the walls go up, you think of all the other use cases that you have. You're like, oh, I could have done this. Oh, I need to do this. So run more CAT6. Specifically, think about smart home stuff if you're into that. In my case, I hadn't done a lot of smart home kind of research beyond just, hey, I think I know what ecosystem I want to deal with, and so I'll get to that when I get to that, right? Because I had a bunch of other things going on. But there's a ton of stuff that you can do, and if you ran the CAT6 ahead of time, it'd make your life easier. So some of the cases, like control panels. So whatever smart home system you run, and in my case, I'm coming at it from the view of using Home Assistant, which is incredibly powerful. And you can do a lot with it. But smart home control panels. So, I mean, if you want a dashboard to control your house, right, from wherever, thinking a touchscreen on the wall somewhere, where do you want that? Because wherever you want that, it's probably good to run a PoE drop and a CAT6 drop there. So you can power the thing and get network connectivity. Easy to do with the walls up, with the walls, not up, right? The other use case for this is, and this is going to geek out a little bit, so apologies for those who aren't geeky like me. With smart home, there's all kinds of things you can do with Home Assistant and little microcontrollers called ESP32s. It's this little half a credit card size board that It's basically an Arduino, but it's also got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on it. So you can do all kinds of cool things with it as far as integrations and bridging technologies and that kind of stuff, right? Well, you can get those boards in a PoE version, which is kind of cool. So that really expands the capability of what they can do and convenience of wiring them up and everything. So I have one right now that you'll get a video on here in the future that, you know, I wish I would have ran some drops for, right? So now that I know that this capability exists. So that is number 2, run more CAT6. Number 3, run more conduit to connected spaces, right? Or to connect spaces. So run more empty conduit to fish, you know, future network cables or whatever. Really think about that. At a minimum, and I didn't do this and I know better, but you know, when you get busy and you get stressed and you try to get stuff done, you get stupid and you forget things or you just don't do it. Run conduit. At a minimum, from wherever your network rack is, whatever, all your telecom closet, whatever that central point you have in your house, or multiple points if it's spread out a little bit and kind of big, run the conduit from there into your attic space. If you're a single-story home, this is incredibly important because then you can access pretty much everywhere from the attic, right? If it's a 2-story home, definitely in the attic space where you can at least hit the 2nd floor. And then if you've got kind of targets of opportunity on the 1st floor, run the conduit to hit those rooms. Very important. It would have saved me a little bit of headache. I was able to remedy some of that with the, like I did with the crypto video, right? Running all the cable and everything, but it could have been a lot easier if I had done that ahead of time. So really recommend that. Run conduit more than you think you need. And I guess that extends to like conduit for TVs, right? In my case, my living room, I ran cables from behind my TV down to jacks on the wall, right, just to the left of the fireplace to connect those 2 points. And I ran cables for HDMI and whatnot, and that's all well and good. But I didn't run cable to try to future-proof myself. I could have. Or run conduit to future-proof myself. I could have. I made the decision not to. In my case, I ran 2 HDMI cables that should be rated for 8K. I spent a little more for those. So to me, if I'm really hurting to say, man, I really wish I had 16K content above my fireplace, I just don't see that happening. Or if I see that happening, if I really need that by that time, I won't care to tear out a wall. It's not going to be that big a deal at that point because it's so far down the road. All right, number 1, 2, 3, 4, taller garage doors. Never even thought about this. The doors we have are, I think, 7 foot. They're a standard, I think the standard height, probably the smallest height that comes standard, like 7-foot garage door, something like that. I guess in previous houses, I had taller. I think I had 8-foot doors, you know, in the house. And I just never realized it. So these are actually short. Like, I mean, I guess they're normal, but I would have probably opted for an 8-foot door or maybe even a 9-foot. I don't know what's normal. So I never knew until the garage doors got in, and I started the garage doors got in, and I started hanging the garage door opener, and you know, all that geometry lining up. I'm like, boy, that seems really low. That's why. Never would have crossed my mind. So I would have done taller garage doors. So keep that in mind if that's something that's important to you. Let's see here. Next one, hyper detail oriented. So this kind of ties everything together, right? Be intentional, think deeply about each phase of the build and how the decisions that you make in this phase of the build affect the next phases of the build. It's incredibly important. I'd like to think I did a lot of that throughout this project. I certainly tried, and nothing's gonna be perfect, right? What's the old phrase? No plan survives first contact with the enemy. Like, it's gonna change. You're gonna miss stuff, but the more you can be intentional, the better results you're gonna have. All right. Next one, And we already saw the video on this. Gutters, or how not to cut corners. I shouldn't have kicked the can on that, but I did. And so that's a problem. So gutters, don't delay on the gutters. Don't, and in general, try not to cut corners. Even if you think, oh, I'll do it later, try not to, okay? Last one I got for you, I guess it's number 7, is for a large house, consider multiple electrical panels. I had it in my head to only do one. And because I have a long house, I did a lot of long runs. And in the end, I had to put a sub panel up in the attic anyway, to where if I had designed that from the get-go, I probably could have distributed things a little better. I might have saved myself some wire. I honestly don't know, but at least think about that, especially if you got like a long, like a ranch style house or something. You know, consider splitting up the electrical load and doing a sub panel or something like that for a better design, so you don't have a bunch of long runs going everywhere. So that's about all I got for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for watching the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.